Okay, are we ready? Good morning. All of you folks chit-chatting in the back, stop it right now. I want to welcome everyone in the sanctuary and those of you watching from wherever you are. My name is Reverend Gretchen Pena, and I'm a part of our wonderful ministerial team. And we're so happy to have you with us this morning. This is a special day. We have the honor and the blessing to have Daniel Nahmod with us this morning. He will be giving the Father's Day sermon, he will be providing the music, and then he will be doing a concert this afternoon at 1. So tickets will be available at the door if you don't already have one. So I hope that you enjoy the music, the service, the message, and the friendly smiles that you see here. And I also want to let you know that we'll have fellowship time after the service. We'll have actually food, so to tide you over between the ending of the service and the beginning of the concert. And if you are here for the first time, we'd love to get to know a little bit more about you, how we can serve you, how we can pray with you. So thank you again for joining us today. So let's take a moment now to open with prayer. So I invite you to get still, to breathe. And precious Spirit, we open ourselves to your presence, to your ever-present. Wherever we are, God is, because God is within each and every one of us. We are children of God, on our way to becoming the Christed beings that God created us to be. We are humble, we are ready, and we say thank you, God. And now we have some music from Daniel.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, sing with me. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
And now for our greeting. Here we go. Our greeting this morning is simply Happy Father's Day. Please stand. Happy Father's Day. I know your father.
You too.
Okay, you're happy. Yeah, okay. Now we have Kathy with our announcements.
Good morning. Thank you so much for being here in person and watching us online. And if you're watching us online and you'd like to get to know us better, please be sure and stay connected and email us at unitysandiego@gmail.com. So after the service today, you definitely want to head over to Wrigley Hall because we have a great potluck lunch going on. Lots of food I already saw over there as I was setting things up. And then you'll have a chance to eat up and be ready for Daniel's wonderful concert at 1. And Daniel, I will make up a plate for you, darling, so that you don't go hungry. A little bit of everything, and I'll keep...
I'm not in too much danger of going hungry.
I know that. I know all about surplus, dear. So anyway, Dan will have a chance to eat and have some downtime in between, but do stick around. And for those of you that are watching online, you really don't want to miss the concert. I'm really sorry that you're missing the energy and all right now today by being here in person. But hopefully you'll be coming back at 1 o'clock for the concert. And also, you're going to have a chance to purchase some of Daniel's music between the services and after you eat or before you eat, and then his wife's fabulous jewelry before the concert begins. And I know I have a couple of pairs of earrings. Yes, I do, from coming up to Orange County myself for a couple of your different activities. And so it's gorgeous stuff, so please enjoy it. And then if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, I will be selling the tickets at the door. They are $25, same price as if you'd bought them in advance. And it's just a blessing again to have you here, Daniel. Now today, our Everlasting Serenity Spiritual Recovery Ministry will not be meeting, or I should say not today, this week, because Reverend Carla is actually back at Unity Village at a convention. So her classes will resume the following Thursday on June 27th. If you'd like a little quiet reading time, head on over to our library. Bob will be over there today. And, next Sunday. I apologize. I didn't have a chance to reread these or read these beforehand. So next Sunday, the 23rd at 11:15, Bob will be over at the library. And check out books, sit down and enjoy some time just reading there, if nothing else. And stay and discuss some of your favorite books if you'd like. Reverend Carla will be holding a healing service on Sunday, June 30th at 12 noon over in the chapel and on Zoom. So please plan to stay if you can and attend online by just texting Reverend Carla at 619-218-6135 for the Zoom link. And then if you have any questions or suggestions, comments, concerns, praises, whatever you might have to share, please, after a service over in Wrigley Hall, plan to talk to our board treasurer, Cheryl Sabin, who will be there to welcome any information or input that you might have. And if you're watching online and you have something you would like to share or ask, you can email unitysandiego@gmail.com. And please put "talk to a board member" in the subject line. And for prayer needs, you can call our prayer ministry at 619-282-7609 at any time. Leave a message and one of us will give you a call back. And you can email us all, you can email the prayer chaplains also at our new email address, prayerministryusd@gmail.com. But you might get a call back from me sometimes too. And if you would like some one-on-one prayer today, please head on up here to the old choir pew area where our stuffed animals are finding a home. And Melva Green will be our prayer chaplain today, and I know she's a blessing to anyone that has an opportunity to pray with her. And for those of you watching online, we certainly have prayer chaplains who are watching online as well and holding you and all of us in prayer. So now just relax and enjoy a meditation hymn with Daniel.
Yes, I am here to love. Yes, I am here to serve. Yes, I am here to be the love of God. Yes, I am here to love. Yes, I am here to serve. Yes, I am here to be the love of God, my God. If you're comfortable closing your eyes, go ahead and make yourself settled. Take a couple of deep breaths. If you're interested in trying these lines on for size, sing this with me. Yes, I am here to love. Ready? Here we go. Yes, I am here to love. Yes, I am. Yes, I am here to serve. Here to serve. Yes, I am. Yes, I am here to be. Here to be the love of God. Again, yes, I am. Yes, I am here to love. Here to love. Yes, I am here to serve. Here to serve. Yes, I am here to be. Here to be the love of God, my God, of God, my God. I think it's fair to say that most days, most places, most situations, the mission of serving and loving wouldn't be listed as number one priority. It just isn't at the top of the job description of most earthly jobs. If you're paying your bills, the numbers have to match and the money has to be there. If you're showing up at a job, you got to be dressed appropriately and smile a certain way at the boss and treat the customers a certain way and file the paperwork in just the right order and click just the right buttons on the computer screen. If you're a student, you need to get just the right scores and just the right answers on the standardized tests. An Uber driver has to get 5-star reviews and follow the directions on the screen, and take the cut that they're given, and on and on and on. We all have these job descriptions day to day. Even as a father or a mother, I think it can feel pretty far off, far down the list of priorities to be loving, simply to be loving. Does not always feel like it's a luxury we have the time for, the space for, the intimacy for, the comfort for, the safety for. Instead, we are managing a household, raising a child, making a bed, doing the laundry, planning a vacation, planning a retirement. So when exactly do we get to just be loving? When is that enough? When does your report card reflect only whether you were kind, open-hearted, generous, sincere? Do you take the time to just do that and be that? Do you prioritize it? Do I prioritize it? Or are we all too often in all too many situations focused on what looks like the important stuff, but in fact all belongs behind loving in line? Getting your nails done, getting your car fixed, following an election, filing a business license form, studying your Spanish, figuring out your frequent flyer mile situation, or selling a couple shares of stock, getting a haircut, and on and on and on. Our days are filled with such stuff. But what's the sweetest meat of the day? What's the richest, most delicious thing going? The hug. An actual laugh with an actual friend. Surprising a stranger with an act of kindness. What's the sweetest stuff in your life? Maybe we could water that just a little bit more. Even just stay a little more aware of it. Maybe that would be enough. And not to neglect all the earthly stuff that needs to get done, but to stay just a hair more focused on being loving, knowing that that's the good stuff in life. And as much as anything in our lives, yours or mine, as much as anything is lasting, that's the lasting stuff. Not the share of stock, not the day of repainting your deck, or or the hour on the treadmill to flatten your stomach, or yes, I am here to love. Yes, I am here to serve. Yes, I am here to be the love of God. We'll sing it one more time. Yes, I am here to love. Yes, I am here to serve, here to serve. Yes, I am here to be, here to be the love of God, my God, of God, my God, of God, my God. So I called my talk today, Isn't Every Day Father's Day? And it was kind of a joke, but it's kind of serious. Isn't every day Mother's Day? What's the sweet center of being a mother or a father? What's the sweet center of having a mother, a father, loving a mother or a father or a grandparent? What's the sweet center? Is it folding? Is it how they fold your laundry or how you fold theirs? That's nice. Or cook a meal. It's nice. That's nice. Or drive back and forth to school if your kid's little, or there's earthly stuff that's nice, but what's really happening underneath it is being loving. That's the sweet stuff. Easy to miss, easy to skate by, easy to ignore in a cloud of busyness and to-do lists and so on. Easy. So, for 10 more seconds, let's just appreciate the sweet center of our lives, our parents' lives, our children's lives, siblings, godkids, godparents. Let's just remember the sweet center of it, just for another few seconds.
And now, please join me in speaking the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. And now we have more special music from Daniel, followed by his lesson.
Lately I've been thinking about what motivates me to give a couple dollars to a stranger on the street, to hold the door, carry groceries, help a neighbor in need. When history repeats itself in headlines every day, solutions never big enough for problems that we face. As a man, as a dad, what difference can I make? 'Cause I know better than to think I'll be remembered for a favor or a quarter or a smile. Oh, but maybe before I return to sender, I can do one thing worthwhile. So I'm gonna try to raise a kind child. Sure would help if our boy went and got an MBA and took care of his artist mom and dad in their old age. But let's face it, Wall Street probably isn't in his DNA. But when his first grade teacher said she wanted us to know, it's Jude who always comforts any kid who sits alone, there's just so much pride my heart can take. My retirement can wait. 'Cause I know better than to think I'll be remembered for a fortune or a pension or a prize. Oh, but maybe before I return to sender, I'll have done one thing worthwhile. So I'm gonna try to raise a kind child. I don't want him to think the world is his to save. It's too much pressure anyway, it can't be done. I don't want him to think he has to be a saint, 'cause the truth is saints don't have any fun. Mostly I just hope, my boy, you'll come to understand. No 401k or GPA can make a happy man. It's having roots, doing good, helping out where you can. So put down roots, do some good, take somebody's hand. And you'll know better than most what really matters, what makes living this life worthwhile. And there may come a day your own kids will remember how their granddad used to say with a smile that he raised. We raised a kind child. My boy now is 12 years old, and I wanted to point out the picture that I sent in just a couple of days ago. Yeah, back there, the other screen. Yeah. Have you ever literally had a monkey on your back? That picture is brand new, and it was taken at a sanctuary for orphaned monkeys in Peru, where I woke up, what day is today? Sunday. I woke up in Peru on Friday morning and just came home. And that little monkey lost its parents, its mother, to poachers in the Amazon rainforest where I was. And there are good-hearted people in Peruvian law enforcement in the rainforest who, when they catch poachers, they frequently find orphaned baby monkeys. And there is a sanctuary for them. My tour group, we got to visit these orphaned monkeys. And they're not caged. They're living on a few acres of rainforest, and they just bounce around through the trees and run across the grass and are fed and cared for very lovingly. And when you visit them, they are happy to play with you. And in my case, we went 2 days in a row. Actually, we went 2 days in a row because the first day was so special that Jude, my boy, begged to go back. And it wasn't on the itinerary, but our tour guide whispered to Melina, my wife, and me the next morning, I arranged for us to go back to see the monkeys one more time. And this was day one. Day two was a little messier. So this monkey sat on my shoulder for probably 20 minutes. And I just walked around and sang to him, right? And just like sort of, just bouncing around. And, something I learned when we had Jude is, my whole life I'd seen people carrying a baby, right? You see people carrying a baby, and you think, that's nice, until you've held a baby. It doesn't have to be yours. If you hold a baby, you realize that the person holding the baby is having a very special moment. They may be hot, they may be tired, they may be beside themselves in a million different ways, but there is something very special about a baby tucked in to a grown-up, And and I felt it again when this guy settled on my shoulder. And Melina said, he is so content, I just walked around, and he just was perfectly fine sitting there on my shoulder. And the truth is that as one of the hosts in that monkey sanctuary told us, these monkeys are not meant to be playing in a tree. They were meant to be on their mothers' backs, and their mothers were killed. So for them, whatever they're processing, whatever they're feeling, there is no question for me what he was feeling on my shoulder. What he was feeling was every day is Father's Day when somebody is willing to show up, and I'm nothing heroic about it. I was just willing to show up. I didn't know where I was showing. There's nothing about willingness. I just happened to be there, but I also happened to know how to hold myself as a dad in some sense, with a baby in some sense, and make sure he felt safe and secure and also could see the world, from my shoulder. So they told us in advance, don't restrain these babies. You're just visiting. They live here. You don't hold them down, and that obviously, it comes easy, maybe sounds obvious, but you want to sometimes hold them. We all know that feeling too. But in this case, he knew he could get off anytime he wanted. He could jump off me anytime he wanted. And for a long time, he did not want to, because he was getting a free ride and seeing the world from a little higher altitude than he normally would, which is an unusual feeling for people on my shoulders. But when you're a foot and a half tall, I guess 5.5 feet feels like a bonus round, And so I knew how it felt. I remembered from Jude as a baby. I knew what I was feeling. And I had a sense of what he was feeling, right? Safe, unrestrained, safe, being shown the world, and he wasn't imagining that he felt safe. If something had threatened him, I absolutely would have protected him. You know what I mean? There's an undeniable thing that happens there when a baby's on your shoulder, you know. The next day, as I said, was messier. I was wearing a T-shirt that I love from what I consider to be a great American company, the Taylor Guitar Company, that made this guitar. Yeah. So I'm wearing and in fact, I wore my Taylor guitar hat this entire trip, the one you're wearing, Jerry. I wore my Taylor guitar hat the whole time, but when you go see the Monkees, they say, you're going to want to take off anything that you want to keep, because they know how to unzip pockets, and they're very excited to take glasses off your face, and they're playful, they're babies. So I wasn't wearing my hat, but I was wearing my Taylor T-shirt, and on the second day, I don't have a picture with me right now, but on the second day, a pregnant monkey got on my shoulder, similar to this look, similar position, and just sat there and settled in again for like 20, 25 minutes. Everybody else is playing with, there's like 40 or 50 monkeys in this particular sanctuary, so people are strolling around. It's very special. If it sounds crazy and special, it is, right? And some of the monkeys are tiny, tiny babies, heartbreakingly small. I can show you on my phone at the table later if you want to see a couple of pictures of my wife, kind of cradling the head of just a baby who wouldn't come out of the tree entirely. So he's holding on to a branch with his tail, hangs down, and cradles his head in my wife's hand, just like this. So the mama, the future mama, is sitting on my shoulders for a while, and I'm walking around, and I'm singing again. And then all of a sudden, this beautiful pregnant little monkey jumps off, and I see her throwing up on the ground. And one of the sanctuary workers there says, "She's pregnant. You were bouncing her around a little bit." I'm like, "Oh, why didn't anybody stop me? That's horrible." She's so she throws up, and he says, "Oh, and she got you too." And I look down, and my shirt has tons of. If you've never been thrown up on by a monkey, I don't recommend it. But there it was, and I will also say that that similar to understanding how that little guy felt on my shoulder the first day, I also was not freaked out by vomit on my shirt. In fact, I have to say, I think the several people who saw the vomit on my shirt who worked at the sanctuary were very impressed with how not freaked out I was. I was like, "Oh," and he's like, "Come over here," and he turned on a faucet, and he had to lock up the faucet, by the way, afterwards. As soon as he turned on a faucet, like 2 monkeys came over, He's like, "They know how to undo it, so I got to tie it up when I'm done." So, we washed off, most of the throw up from my shirt, and I apologized. Her name is Mosita, my new girlfriend, by the way. The monkey who's pregnant. And before I left that day, Mosita was resting, which I feel bad that she needed a rest. But let's face it, I hear pregnancy is hard. And so she's laying on a little step and looks at me, and I sit down next to her, and I say, "I'm so sorry. I didn't even think about you getting nauseous, morning sickness or whatever." And she literally holds out a hand. And I had never held a monkey's hand before, And she just long black fingers, And just, we just hold hands for a couple seconds. And I took just a couple of beautiful pictures of her face and said goodbye. And that was my new girlfriend, Mosita, who I made throw up and allowed her to throw up on me. And so all this to say, I've been thinking about what I would say on Father's Day. Given that I'm neither an expert nor a perfect father, such as it is and such as certainly does not exist, depending on how you define perfect, of course. But in terms of me feeling like I'm perfect on a daily basis, never, not once, ever. But I have given some thought to what it is exactly being a father entails. And it actually is reflected in these moments with these monkeys, kind of a fair amount. One of them is not freaking out when you get thrown up on. And one of them is carrying patiently a child at a height that they can't yet reach, literally or figuratively, allowing them to look out into the world while feeling safe in the knowledge that if anything were to threaten them, you've got them. I noticed early on that when Melina wants to comfort Jude, she does this, and he goes inward to her. But when I am holding on to my boy, it's like that. He's facing outward. And nothing I say, by the way, is meant to be construed as technically, this is sort of a disclaimer, but it's also worth saying. It's not technically male or female characteristics at all. It's really a mothering and a fathering thing, and I am sure, I know for sure without asking, that someone in this room has never met their mother, and their father was the best mother they could possibly have asked for, and vice versa. So it's not about male or female. It's also certainly not about a heterosexual marriage of a mom and a dad. We're talking about the characteristics of fathering and mothering on this particular day. So you take that however that means to you. So you don't need to tell me later, I didn't have a father, but my mother was. I get it. I'm just talking about the characteristics. Another thing that I can't help but notice about fatherhood, besides not freaking out when you get thrown up on and carrying your child around facing outward, another is, go with me here, is sort of slightly falling apart as a man, in my case. Gaining weight, losing hair, tired all the time, and the edge coming off of some of my own personal ambition, if that makes sense. Because well, I love Adam Sandler movies. Like, it's a little embarrassing to if I contemplate how many hours of my life I've spent watching Adam Sandler movies, I probably could have finished another couple albums in that time. But one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies recently is a really, really beautiful movie called Blended. Okay, with him and Drew Barrymore. If you haven't seen it, it's truly lovely. The thing I like about Adam Sandler movies is they're just almost, they're actually universally good-hearted. They just are. Some of them are stupid as anything, but good-hearted, period. Really, they mean never to leave victims. They really just are never mean-spirited. Not really. And in this Blended movie is about two divorced people, two previously married people, one widowed, one divorced, who meet and blend their families together. That is to say, one with the kids and the other with the kids, and they blend. That's why it's called Blended, okay? And when they're discussing, parenting at one point, as Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore are getting to know each other, they're discussing parenting, and she is just infuriated constantly at the absence of her ex-husband from her kids' lives, that he is always making excuses to be somewhere else. And Adam Sandler, as a character, as a dad, a very devoted dad, says offhandedly at one point, it should be boring how much you're there for your kids. And like I said, I watch these movies a lot. So I pick up on, I love little lines that feel like particularly significant and it's particularly beautiful. Screenwriters have a hard job. And that there's nothing accidental about that line. It should be boring how present a father is for his kids. Think about that. It should be boring. They shouldn't even notice. Right? You're there so often, and I will say, for that I definitely get an A. My kid barely notices I'm in the house. He loves me, I love him. We spend time, but I am home. My wife is a jewelry maker, right? So she's home making jewelry in one room. I'm in the music studio in the other room, or watching Adam Sandler movies. And when Jude is home, it's more often than not, both of his parents are also home. It's boring for him that both of his parents are home. The only time one of us is missing is when Danny goes to work, which is from anywhere from a couple hours to a few days. That's it. It is, in fact, boring that I'm around so much. He doesn't notice it. He would only notice it if it changed. So, like I say, the humility of being boring. I mean, I can't think of something especially exciting I'd want to do, for 4 hours on a Tuesday. But there's got to be something. And instead, I'm home being boring. I'm also home overeating and watching Adam Sandler. I'm home. And, I specifically, by the way, this is a complete lie. I was going to say I specifically chose, dad jeans to wear today. But the truth is, that's all I wear. They're dad jeans. They're Costco jeans. There's spandex built into them. You know what I mean? It's like they accommodate a large pizza instead of a medium if I feel like eating it. I don't even think, they used to give a size of pants and it would mean something. I don't think it means anything anymore. I think they say, oh, sure, 34. We'll give you a few inches of spandex in case you're feeling especially relaxed. They call it relaxed fit. That's a nice euphemism. So dad jeans, dad jokes, dad bod. Yeah. So, but what do those things actually indicate? What's really happening there with stupid dad jokes that I love them. I crack them all the time. I couldn't think, there was one joke I cracked in Peru about a tea, some kind of tea that had a 6-syllable Spanish name, and I thought of a really stupid pun for it, and I said it out loud, and all 7 or 8 people in our group all laughed like I actually knocked one out of the park. Very rare. I barely usually get a chuckle at my little jokes, at my dad jokes, mostly, and they are dad jokes by definition. And they're just stupid, usually just stupid little puns, things that I think, like Jude. Jude's name is Jude, but we call him Judy sometimes. So I'll say, hey, Judy, don't give me attitudey. Don't be Rudy. Be a nice little duty. Or he comes out, he would kill me. He comes out, not wearing any clothes. So I'm like, Judy, this is no time to be nudie. And he's like, Dad, I'll go put on clothes. I'm like, oh, thank you. It's like these are the things that entertain me. So the humor, cheesy and silly. The pants, very unflattering. The stomach keeps growing. The desire to gallivant around the world or to prove something to somebody, that edge keeps coming off more and more. It just does. So I'm 53. And I was different at 43. Jude was 2 years old or whatever it was at the time. But even then, I had more of it. And before Jude was born, much more of it. And if you have a dad now, or if you think about your dad, if you think of him affectionately, which I'm not presuming, but if you do, and you think about him, how much edge did he have? How much drive and ambition did he have? If he was around so often that it was boring, it probably was a phase in his life when his ambition was much smaller than a 23-year-old going off to New York City to make a name or starting a company or whatever. Does that make sense? It's a much smaller ambition. But just as I was saying during the meditation, what's the sweet stuff in life? Is it the business you build? Is it the number of zeros in your retirement fund? I mean, I would enjoy zeros in my retirement fund, before the decimal place. But what's the sweet stuff? The sweet stuff is that I'm around for my son so often that it's boring. Melina and I, as far as I have any reason to believe, expect, or want, will be married until we die, right? But if I'm ever back on the single scene, I am doomed. I mean, I was incompetent at dating already. Add this kind of erosion of that sort of earthly longing, do you know what I mean? Like the ambition longing, the flat stomach longing, the multi-million-dollar fortune longing, that stuff's gone. It's not entirely gone, but it's mostly gone. And in its place is left this desire to see my son grow healthy, happy, and of service. Those are much smaller ambitions. And there are no headlines, there are no awards, there's no fortune on the back end of that. It's just that every day is Father's Day. I wake up and there's no party for Daddy. There's no party for me today. I told Jude, I said, Jude, I'll be back late afternoon. We can start my Father's Day party then. And he's like, okay, Dad. That's it. Mama, I want to revere. He wants to revere. Daddy is around so often it's boring. There are other kind of stereotypical, archetypal father things that I actually really enjoy. I really enjoy a bump in the night that I got to go out and check on, or a fuse blows and I go outside and press the button, even though my wife is fully capable of it. I actually really enjoy it. But this is a part of what I'm saying. Like, this is not grand stuff. There is no sexiness to it. It's just being around so often that it's boring. My wife kind of hates grocery stores, so I do the grocery shopping. There's no prize. It's the equivalent of hunting and gathering. It's all I got. It's 2024. There's no lions and tigers. There's just long lines at the register at Trader Joe's. But I'll brave them. I'll brave them for my family. Or if my wife is, I came home and promptly, by the way, got a cold of some kind, right? Jude was sick. He apparently handed it to me at the very end of our trip. And now, today, Melina woke up sick. So that's awesome. And that means that I'm going to be the practical head of household for a couple of days while Melina's recovering and Jude is kind of basically better. I love it. But there's no applause, there's no pay, there's no grandness to it. So that's why I say, isn't every day Father's Day? Every day I can put that little monkey on my shoulder and show him the world. By the way, that little monkey enjoyed the view. Jude is almost as tall as me, but that's another story, at 12. Although, to be fair, I was taller than my parents at 12. So clearly, genetically, we're going the right direction. Because my mom peaked at I think she peaked at 5 feet. And my dad peaked at 5'3". And my dad's mom, I think, peaked at about 4'6". So I was taller than my parents at my bar mitzvah, and Jude is headed there. fast. But every day is Father's Day. And Father's Day is almost never any more fun than any other day. I mean, if you think about what does a father want on Father's Day? Whoop-de-doo, a burger? I mean, really, if you think about it, that's what I'm talking about. It's like this, it's like a sanding down of like ultra ambition, a wearing away of it or a refocusing of it into something much smaller and more precious, and less acknowledged. And I'll tell you, if you've ever wondered whether guys are pretending to not care about all the things that at least heterosexual guys seem to frequently not care about, fancy things, women's shoes, we're not pretending. It's actually fine. It's not a big deal. Do you know what I mean? If you're excited, I tell my wife, and she's like, but I want to know your opinion. I'm like, I have no opinion. If it makes you happy, that's it. My job is, then I'm happy, literally. For Jude, too. He's happy, I'm happy. It's not codependence. It's just simply that's it. That's the extent of my longing for happiness is to truly, if I come home at 4 o'clock today, whatever it is, and my wife is feeling 4% better, and my son has had a nice afternoon, happy Father's Day, me. That's it. That's all I have to say today. And my intention's always when I talk or do workshops and things, my intention is always to provoke a thought. Maybe it's about your own father. Maybe it's about your own fatherhood if you're a father yourself. Maybe it was a feeling that was lacking. Because if a father doesn't surrender, see, that's the trick. The trick about surrendering that ambition is it's hard. It's hard. I just had, last thing I'll share with you is we are fixing up our catastrophically disastrous fixer-upper, knocker-downer home. Okay, it is a mess. And very, very stressful, money we don't technically have, not so much contractors, but just material and design. It's just a mess. Every time we take off a piece of drywall to redecorate a room, we discover that the termites have eaten all the wood behind the wall. So Horacio, our brilliant carpenter, has to build the house, basically. He's rebuilding our house. It's going to be the house that Horacio built, but one room at a time, which is a little messy and complicated, but that's kind of the way it's going. So we had a particularly stressful day, one day, a couple months ago, 3 months ago, something like that, and I was making my 7th or 8th trip to a Home Depot in one day, and I've gotten pulled over for speeding a handful of times over my lifetime. I am not a sedate driver, but I am not a crazy one either. And on that particular day, a few months ago, I came off the highway. It was the most accidental speeding I've ever done because my mind was so frenzied on 2x4s and 4x8s and beams and concrete bags. I mean, it was such a mess. I truly had no idea that I was speeding, and the cop pulled me over. And I mean, I have utmost respect for police, for traffic police doing their jobs and the danger that they're in every day, every stop. I have just utmost respect. So when he came over to my car, I'm like, whatever you say I was doing, I believe you. I swear I had no idea, and I'm really sorry, and I'm an idiot. I was so upset because even in the mildest case, it's expensive, and it's just money burned. I was very upset that I had been pulled over, and I was sure that whatever he had said I did, I was doing, because I just wasn't thinking about it at all. I wasn't endangering anybody, but I was not driving consciously, And he gave me a ticket, and I didn't have the heart to tell my wife for about 24 hours because I knew it was money thrown away and because She is the most meticulous driver in the history of the world. Imagine like the Pope and who's the woman who went to jail, but she always cooks very meticulously. Yeah, Martha Stewart. Imagine if like Martha Stewart and the Pope had a driving school, you know. My wife, her lane position is perfect. I mean, it's just so obnoxious, and I am just such a mess compared to her. And all that is unfair, because when I did tell my wife, she completely understood, because of the day she knew the day I'd had, and but she also gave me the kind of speech that you really is a reason to get married to somebody you respect, because she caught me at a moment when I was prepared to listen. And what she said was, there is no more preventable problem in life than speeding. You're not 20. You're a grown man, a middle-aged man with a wife, a child, and a dog. You know better. Speeding doesn't save you any time in the end. And not speeding means you are never nervous about what highway you're on, what police car you pass. It's time to drive slower. And I completely heard her. Well, that's the moment, like for a father. It's time to drive slower, literally and metaphorically. It's time to be home so often that it's boring. But I'll tell you, if you're married to a man or tried to marry such a man who refused to allow that moment to come, it's because it was from when she told me this, it was a moment of mortality, if that makes sense. I'm not 24, I'm not 23, I'm 53, and I'll never be 23 again. Speeding is a stupid young person's game, even if I didn't mean it that day. It's time to slow down. And for me, truly, every day is Father's Day, because I am not running around trying to conquer the world or make a fortune or make a name. I'm not. It's not great for a career, whatever career, but that's a phase of life, and that's just natural. That's actual life rather than denying it or fighting it. And that's really the last thing I wanted to say about that, is no matter what age you are, no matter what phase of life you're in, there is a natural way for it to unfold, and then there's a way to deny it or fight it. And denying or fighting it makes you the parent who isn't home because you're trying to do something that's a younger person's game. You're still speeding when you're 53, you know? And all that to say, there is a tremendous peace of mind. And I'm not a master of it, but when my wife said it, it landed, you know. There is tremendous peace of mind in allowing yourself and myself to be in the life we have without a fight, without denying it, without running from it. And a kid knows when their parent is fully in the life that they're in. And a kid also knows when you're not. So every day is Father's Day, and every day is Mother's Day. And I hope however you're celebrating and with whomever you are celebrating and whomever you're remembering, I hope it's a lovely and affectionate day for you, as it is for me. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Daniel. Next week, I will be speaking. The title is Standing on Holy Ground. And now is our time of giving and receiving. So if you would like to mail in your donation, our address is on the screen. And for those watching online, please click on the donate button at unitysandiego.org. We take Visa, MasterCard, and Venmo. As Reverend Carla said, that's our commercial. And it is actually much easier to leave a love offering than it was before. So let's say our offering blessing together. We'll say it aloud twice and once in the silence. Together, divine love through our gifts enlarges the blessings we give and receive. And again, divine love through our gifts enlarges the blessings we give and receive. And now once in the silence. And precious Spirit, thank you for the humility to be cognizant of all the blessings that we receive, particularly the boring ones, the everyday blessings, the things we take for granted. May we count them as blessings and give you the glory. Thank you, God. Amen. And now we'll have a little musical interlude while you do the offering.
All right, thanks. So one more song for you before we wrap up for this morning. And obviously, since I have a cold, I'm looking forward to doing a concert. It won't be very long, hour and a quarter, let's say, something like that, hour and 20 minutes. So if you feel like sticking around or coming on back after lunch, please do at 1 o'clock. And it was nice of you to mention, you mentioned you didn't mention my wife's jewelry. You mentioned my wife's jewelry. Yeah. So yeah, I have my wife's jewelry on the table. I have a few pieces of woodworking. I have CDs, and if you don't listen to CDs anymore, but you're open to digital formats, I have a USB drive, which is currently 14 albums on one little flash drive. If you don't know what a USB flash drive is, you don't want it. But you can. I actually have little download cards. You can actually buy an album straight onto your phone in like 3 seconds. So there's ways for that to happen if you're interested. And otherwise, I'll be there to say hello and goodbye, and then hopefully see you back here in a little while for some more songs. So this song came to mind today, talking about phases of life and coming back home and being at home, if that makes sense. And this is from an album called Home that I wrote these songs while my wife was pregnant with Jude. So right around 13 years ago, I wrote this song. And it came to mind today, so I hope you enjoy it. Here we go. A newborn baby comes home to a world she's never known. Every sight a surprise, every time she opens those eyes. And for years still to come, as she learns to crawl, walk, then run. Every time that she cries, she's held till the hurt subsides. And home for her means she's safe and sound, as she's wondering and wondering about. She can find her way, and of each growing day. She knows she's okay. She doesn't know how. That's what home means now. A teenager learns to drive, and he's never felt so alive. Spends his days making plans, spends his weekends with friends. Here's a distant call, and he dreams of seeing it all. When will he get his chance and finally be a man? Him is a launching pad, a place where he learns to fly, where he packs his bags, never saying if he's coming back or asking if he's allowed. That's what home means now. Then a man meets a woman and sees in her everything he's ever wanted in life. And become a new family, their own adventure to find. And home for them is the safest place, where the world just goes away through the ups and downs. Their love's what it's all about. Commitment and sacred vows. That's what home means now. That's what home means now. is more than enough in a universe that you created. There is more than enough on a planet of sacred design. There is more than enough for humanity made in your image. Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Your infinite love made me, made everything I see, and all that will ever be is your infinite love. Let the world know the truth, whatever we choose to do. Your infinite love will prove more than enough. Your infinite love made me, made everything I see, and all that will ever be is your infinite love. Let the world know the truth, whatever we choose to do. Your infinite love will prove more than enough, more than enough.